Hi, this is Elena the Greek, and this is a reading for the black new moon that we have tomorrow and today, actually tonight, depending on where each one of us is located. I'm gonna start this reading by recapping a bit about June and July, about things that we have been experiencing since springtime, but the peak was definitely June and July of collapsing realities, collapsing illusions that we thought that they were our realities. And in many cases, we have been collapsing those illusions that have been created even from our childhood. In that space, we have expanded awareness in many ways. We have removed anchors from the 3D and those realities that we thought as real, as authentic in our lives. We have been de-anchoring, if that makes sense, ourselves from those illusions so we can have a clear choice with clarity, with purpose of which reality we are choosing to be part of and why. We are setting off these layers. It's like someone pulled down the veil and we are seeing clearly a lot of things that we were dismissing or ignoring before or excusing in many ways. And now there's none of those things. We can't excuse, we can't ignore, we can't suppress the truth that we see, and through that takes place in many layers of our lives, we can choose more consciously of what we want to be doing, who we want to be from now on. That being said, considering also that this is the year of the root chakra that has to do with family matters, it has to do with financial freedom and scarcity at the same time, with challenges on those sectors of our lives. And another huge subject is relocation. Many of us are called to relocate. Some of us already have an idea of where and how things will evolve. Others are still waiting for that clarity to drop in many ways. And in whatever page of that book you are, it is absolutely fine. You are being guided by your higher self, so the transition will be as smooth as possible. And having dissolved the soul contracts you share now with family, with relatives and friends, even with the work environment you have been part of the last few months at least. So what is happening is a huge shift, and masks are being pulled out, and we see the reality on many people. We see how they can improve or not. We can understand ourselves now that we were holding on to the possibility of a positive change, a positive shift in others. We can understand that now we have reached the peak of what we could have received from this space. We got the best out of it, and that relocation has to do either with an introspection, figuring out that I don't belong here, or these versions of myself, of mine, are no longer valid for me. So this is a relocation, a shift that is taking place, a soul shift within self, setting all the versions, the previous versions of yourself off, and at the same time getting into a space of understanding that you are not who you thought you were. And this is a usual part of spiritual awakenings and everything else that is going on. So it's not easy. This year, especially 2025, has been extremely difficult, extremely challenging in every aspect of our lives, in every aspect of ourselves. And a lot of things have been shifting even when we don't feel it, when we don't consciously focus on it. Now, let me get more specific when it comes to family dynamics and what is changing. The dynamics of the family connections we shared so far have been shifting. Most of them, if not all, are soul contracts. We are born, the usual story, in a specific family because There are many reasons for us and for that choice, and it serves us for a lot of growth in a fast pace, in a good pace for us, for our souls, in order to awaken. And of course, we have to resolve and dissolve previous situations from other lifetimes as karma, as ties, soul contracts. What keeps us together? These soul contracts, which is nothing more than an agreement between two souls to come back and repeat some lessons in the opposite direction, most probably and most usually. Now, in that space, of course, we can also be playing the same thing out, which is easier sometimes to feel and recognize and break free from, because soul contracts are not exactly ties that keep you there until the soul contract is completed with the rules and everything else that is involved in that. The usual way of completing a soul contract, especially the last few years, where we are awakening spiritually in a huge way, is to actually decide and make that choice that this is how far I can go, this is how far I can support or be in that role for you, and then we choose consciously to step out of that role, first mentally and emotionally, because there is a saturation that has come, and in a second layer it has to do with actions. So the actions will follow the emotional and mental decision, which can be challenging at first, especially when we have been used to doing the same thing over and over again. It is a habitual thing we keep repeating, not an actual conscious choice of actions, and that is okay because it is easier to pinpoint, to realize, a bit harder to change in actions, but when we are conscious of what kind of actions we need to be taking from now on, it comes easier. So this is how soul contracts within family dynamics and friends and relatives are being completed in that space and in that way, which clears the space for more in alignment connections. It clears the space, it leaves the space open for the right people to show up in your life. That is something we have yet to see, although we have already taken a taste of that, in the sense of we are coming closer with souls in a random, divinely guided, not exactly random, divinely guided way. And even if it is happening for a moment or two, it feels aligned, it feels different, it feels more peaceful and more beautiful. So be open, because this is something that is currently happening, and we have more of that to see and experience. And there is a huge urge, a soul urge, that comes from soul tribes, that this is the time now that we have to come together, and not from a space of pain or hurt, or I've had enough with all of this shit and I need to be moving forward, but from a space of completion, of a space of wholeness. It's like I tidied up my house and I'm leaving it to the next to rent it or buy it or whatever it is. I'm moving on. This is the image I'm getting. I have tidied up everything, any loose ends I had so far, with the completion of the soul contracts and with the new decisions, the redirections that are taking place. And we are coming together because we are here to co-create something different. Something that we have no clue yet how it looks like. We have a clue of how it feels like. And of course there are gonna be challenges in that space, but still it is going to be more in alignment than anything else before. Having that said now, I need to explain also a bit about love matters and what is taking place. I keep observing a couple of astrologers, so I have a clue of what is going on with Venus or Aphrodite and some deep wounds that take place regardless of gender, regardless of what you're looking for to find in your life. And the whole concept of this reading has to do with wholeness, completion, unity and union within self. Now, this is the subject of the whole reading, and I haven't covered it because I had to explain all the previous stuff about soul contracts and the rest of the things that came through. This is the new moon that brings wholeness and completion within self. It brings union and unity within self. So, to explain that further, we have gotten into a space of removing all these anchors that were keeping us back in many ways. We have been in a space of cutting cords, of rearranging ourselves within the dynamics of everything we have been going on in our lives. Even we have a clue and idea of what are our next steps in some ways. And this new moon, along with the previous full moons, is bringing that wholeness and completion. So with the previous full moons, what was happening was a huge collapsing of a lot of things, connections, relationships, or the way we were connected with someone else. And now what is coming forward is inner completion, wholeness within self, union and unity. And I'm guided to keep repeating this as a message because this is the main highlight of this reading. And of course it has to do also with love. So in that space, everything that wasn't in alignment with us, blockages and obstacles from previous relationships, from previous contacts with partners or potential partners in dating processes, are coming into a huge end. It's not even a halt, it's an end. What was going on so far, we are called to do some deep reflection and introspection in that aspect so we can close chapters of who we thought we were in matters of love and romantic love and partnership and this kind of subject and area of our lives, so we can put a huge full stop. This is it. What I'm claiming, what I'm creating for myself, what I demand for myself from now on is this. So what will help with that is journaling, of course, and in that space you will be able to reflect more about yourself, what was holding you back, what is still holding you back, what makes you feel scared or afraid of connecting with someone, or when you are connected, what is not enough in that connection, in that love relationship. When it comes to twin flames, I'm not gonna comment on twin flames, the 3D twin flames. I'm gonna comment though on the 5D sacred flames, because for me the sacred flames have to do with the 5D, the fifth dimension, and in that space there's a huge soul recognition individually and collectively in both of them. So what you can do, if you still feel there is something holding you back from the past, having met either your 3D twin flame, either your 5D sacred flame, what you can do is sit with yourself and reflect on the things that still make you mad, agitated, or happy and excited about what you believe for them to be your twin flame or sacred flame. Now these things, when you put them under perspective and when you actually reflect on those, for example, you may feel that you don't have trust in that person anymore at least, or you may feel that their freedom of choice, of relocating, of this and that excites you, or the freedom they have you feel they have in their personal lives or in their workplace, whatever excites you about them or whatever makes you feel kind of off, you get into that space and try to figure out where this comes from. For example, the lack of trust comes from the mother or the father roles in your life. Now, if you are a woman in that space, for example, divine feminine in overall, regardless of gender, it comes down to figuring out where your trust was broken as a child, and it won't be just one case. It will be several small situations that made you feel that you are not okay, that you cannot place your trust in your father, in your mother, and you may have not felt as safe as possible as a child, as a young adult, as a teenager. So go through your life and reflect how this came up to be in the first hand. It is always like that. It's not exactly the mirror technique that is a common technique usually discussed for the twin flames. It goes a lot deeper and helps you see how your life has been transformed in so many ways and shaped through these small little examples and situations from your life where you couldn't place your trust or you didn't feel enough supported or financially supported in the way you needed it. And when you get these things down on a paper, you will realize a lot of things have been created in your life, in your adult life, through those small reflections that you will figure out of what and when they truly started. In that space, what you can do is give acceptance, understanding, and love to yourself. And the next step is to get into a space of claiming your innate birthright to actually have, to be able to trust a guy or a lady, a woman. It's not about gender specific. It's up to you to translate it how you feel is right for you. And to check how your security, your safety as a human being, as anything has been compromised because of the experiences you had as a child. When you do that, the realization will be huge of what you need to be reclaiming back as your power and how you want your life to be from now on. And this is why in this reading, this comes along a lot. A bit of journaling, a bit of reflection, and you will figure out a lot about yourself. And it's not about bringing closer the sacred flame or the soulmate or the kindred spirit or anyone in your life. It's not about manifesting in that way. It's about you becoming more whole, complete within yourself, so you can bring union and unity in all aspects of yourself. We are not chasing a vibration of I have to become this in order to bring that in my life. That is a very limiting belief to have and to carry on with that as a belief. And if that was true, everything wouldn't be happening. No, you don't have to exactly match the vibration. You have to just love yourself enough to be open enough to attract everything you desire and believing that you deserve that and it is your innate birthright. Now, moving on to the manifestation part of this reading. Yes, the energy is very high in a huge way. You can be releasing, you can be stating what you don't tolerate, what you don't want anymore in your life, what you are bored with, for experiencing it over and over again, the new things you would like to experience from now on. So moving on to the positive aspect of the manifestation and putting in your focus and your attention to what you want to be creating for yourself as an experience from now on. In that space, you will be recognizing a lot of things about the dreams you have and you didn't even have the will or the power to chase. And we are not chasing. We are manifesting, we are attracting, we are magnetizing these opportunities in a huge way, and whatever is meant to be for your highest good, it will be for your highest good. Either it is exactly what you imagine and dream of, or something better than that. All you have to be is open and not resist if something is a bit different from what you had in mind initially. So, leaving that here, work on your manifestations, journal them, write them down. And the more you write them down, the more they will shape themselves as they are meant to be. It is kind of a creative writing form where you keep writing, for example, every day or every other day, what you want to be creating in your life, what you want to experience from now on. And that takes shape, form, color on its own, because what we had initially in mind is not exactly what we truly needed. It is what we thought we needed, it is what we thought it would be best for us, but when you allow your soul to speak to you through creative writing, you will be seeing a lot more than you know about yourself, about your desires, and about your dreams. So I'm leaving this here. I will remind one more time that the whole theme of this black new moon is wholeness, completion, union, and unity within self, which brings consequently more alignment, which brings different connections, which brings relocation even, completion of soul contracts that have been heavy on you, and you realize there's no actual purpose on that anymore. So be open, receive more of yourself, be more of yourself, and as always, be true to yourself and be your true self. That is my prayer and my wish for you, to always be true to yourself and be your true self. And it takes a lot to do that, to be that, but it's totally worth it. And believe me, there's nothing better than that. I would love to hear your experiences, your thoughts on this, how you feel it, how things have been for you. Please do focus on your manifestations. It's a great energy, powerful energy, this black new moon. And follow your intuition. And let me know in the comments how you feel it and experience it. And if you feel drawn to, please do book a session through my website. I would love to work with you. I would love to connect with you and to support you in as many ways as possible. Much love, Elena.